He replied that he was just worried.
The next day, Batten arrived at the film set where his sister was.
He said that he had previously only seen her play on screen, and now he wanted to see her work live.
And the student did not answer his sister's many questions about all sorts of things, but only hugged the girl.
She asked me to tell everything straight and to the point without any tricks, and she would try to help.
When the main character said that he was always proud of her, the sister was seriously scared.
But then he made a funny grimace and said that she was so blown away that even her brains were swollen with fat. This angered his sister, and she again shouted at him that she was gaining weight only for her new role.
All this time, Batten pretended to laugh at her, but in the end, tears welled up in his eyes. On November 8th, the streamer met his girlfriend on the embankment, and she asked what was bothering her boyfriend.
Sometimes his life seemed like a dream, and sometimes the dream seemed like reality, and at times something in between a dream and reality. Kathleen asked if her hand seemed real to Batten and promised that after the trip it would remain just as real. At the end, he simply added that he did not want to part with her even for a few days. Already at the airport, the main character called his mother and asked if she was still visiting her father. Then I realized that apparently I had not chosen the expression very well, and simply asked how they were doing. The mother asked whether he was calling on business or not, and if there was nothing urgent, then it was better not to distract them. The son said he understood and suggested that they were having a honeymoon there. It was good on his part, because if the main character is gone, then at least the mother will have a father. In his place, Batten looked at how many tasks from the system he managed to complete during this period of time. The guy remembered the whole story from the moment he first woke up from his bed.
I remembered my first marathon, my first manga, my victories in the tournament, and my first kiss.
The system awarded him many bonuses, namely hand speed, endurance, throwing accuracy, and the like. When the plane was in the air, the system gave him the Master of Survival task, where he had to stay alive until the 12th of November and get to Japan.
Logically, the timing fits because the student was killed on a flight to Japan on November 11th around 11 o'clock in the evening.
The sister's award ceremony will take place on the 11th. In the morning, we had to live until the 12th. The terrorists are probably already in the process of preparation within the next 2 days. The streamer will need to find at least some clues. Upon arrival, he remembered that he would be flying to Japan from the second terminal. Although the guy did not see the entire faces of the terrorists, if they caught his eye, his pumped-up powers of observation would help him recognize them. With these intentions, the main character took out a magic camera and sent it to the second terminal. He watched the people for several minutes, but nothing suspicious happened. Soon the guy was interrupted by his younger sister Jenny, who came to meet her brother at the airport. Right off the bat, she said that she didn't recognize Batten because he had lost weight beyond recognition. In response to this, he stroked his sister on the head, which made her angry, since she is one of the main beauties of the university. And then he generally stated that they already have enough beauties in their family. Jenny can be a simpleton. She changed the subject and said that she knew about Batten's girlfriend. She asked if her name was Kathleen. My sister saw her photos. She also thinks she is a beauty. But then why did the guy choose her, since they have enough beauties in their family? He replied that Kathleen is very talented, and even her mother is delighted with her. After that, Jenny suggested going to a cafe, which is located next to her university. On the night of November 9th, Batten, being in the hotel, asked the system to turn on the recording from the camera for today.
The guy sped up the video 2, 4, 8, and even 16 times, but saw nothing.
After 20 minutes of watching, he asked to go back to the very beginning of the recording. Suddenly, the main character noticed something that he ordered to go back a minute. At the moment when the flight attendants arrived at the airport, he asked to enlarge one of them. Then it dawned on him that this blonde was the same flight attendant from a past life. And at that same moment, the thought occurred to me that the flight attendant looked like a famous Japanese porn star. The student has not yet discovered the terrorists, but the flight attendant is already good, because the airline employees probably helped them. Then Batten instructed the camera to follow this blonde to find out her location. Apparently, she just got off the next flight and is going to rest. At the same second, a girl with red hair knocked on the door of his room. The student realized that she was drunk and said that she had the wrong number, but the girl said that she was right on target. The main character did not understand her, and suddenly this girl fell right on top of him. Apparently, she wanted to kiss him, which made the streamer wary. Suddenly, he closed his eyes and said that apparently he would have to do it. But you will have to not kiss her back, but use force to force her out of the room. The main character asked what the girl needed from him. It seemed that this was some kind of local scam. She replied that she was very drunk and just got lost while asking for forgiveness. Batten said that nothing terrible had happened and sent her on her way. The girl didn't want to leave and said that something might happen to her if she left alone. Without letting her finish, the streamer replied that everything would be fine with her. And then he leaned out of the room and shouted to call security for this beauty. An unexpected guest asked if the guy really thought she was some kind of scammer.
This was not entirely true because she simply saw a student in the hall and really liked him. In case Batten changed his mind, she said that she lived in room 9 on the same floor. When she finally left, the protagonist wondered if charm would really become a curse for him. But suddenly he realized to himself how this could be used for good. At night, Batten went to the park where the same flight attendant was and accidentally touched her with his shoulder. Then he caught her and used all 17 units of his charm and 4 units of an infectious smile. The girl's heart began to beat wildly, as if she had fallen in love at first sight. For her, he was a delightful young man. His face, voice, smile, and temperament were beautiful. Moreover, in all romantic TV series, this is exactly how the main characters meet. The handsome guy asked if the blonde was okay, but she was so fascinated that she didn't answer right away. Mentally, Batten asked Kathleen for forgiveness, as this was necessary for his survival on the voyage. The streamer only said that he did not notice the beauty, and asked if she spoke Chinese. Then he added that her face seemed very familiar, as if they had met somewhere before. Some people say that the blonde looks like a famous actress. Batten said that this is not so. Suddenly, the flight attendant suggested that she could previously come to him in his dreams. In this situation, everything turns out even simpler than the main character expected. He introduced himself and called himself Loaf. The girl said her name was Olivia. The guy asked if he wouldn't mind taking a walk, since they were going in the same direction. Olivia asked if her new friend had come from America by chance, to which he answered positively. She further said that she works as a flight attendant, mainly flies on flights between Singapore and Japan, and the day after tomorrow she flies to Japan again. Batten replied that, by a happy coincidence, he was going to fly there to rest. This made the blonde very happy, and she offered to exchange contacts to meet in Japan. As it turned out, she and her colleagues agreed to go to a theme park tomorrow and invited their new friend. The main character immediately realized that she had to go, because one of her colleagues could help the terrorists. He replied that their plans magically coincided, and tomorrow the streamer would go to the same park. On the way to the hotel, the student ordered the camera to continue monitoring the second terminal. At the theme park, he also watched the camera footage, but nothing happened. He was interrupted by Olivia, who came to introduce the guy to his work colleagues. She introduced Perry first, who was with his girlfriend. The guys shook hands and said that they were both glad to meet each other. Then she introduced Rudy and Albina. They looked very intimidating. Albina noted that Olivia was right about Batten being handsome. Rudy was out of sorts and taciturn. He just said hello and said his name. The main character immediately realized that this blonde man was one of the terrorists. This Rudy guy seems like a normal guy, and he seemed a little annoyed when his girlfriend called Batten handsome. Otherwise, he's quite positive, and he treats Albina very courteously. But her loyalty is in question. She flirts with the student too often. He seemed to come here with Olivia and she with Rudy, but she winks and touches her shoulder. The strangest thing is that Rudy looks at him not with irritation, but with some kind of guilt in his eyes. He himself probably feels embarrassed for his girlfriend, but be that as it may, he behaves very dignified and has never expressed his dissatisfaction to the streamer. Perry's girlfriend said that they approached the pavilion with transformers. As for Perry himself, Batten more than once noticed his wary gaze, sometimes even with hints of aggression. His girlfriend Martha looks at him with such loving eyes that she doesn't even need a student with his mega charm. It was unlikely that it was about Olivia, because if Perry felt something for her, then the guy would have noticed it. There was only one option left, namely that Albina had something with Perry. His thoughts were interrupted by Rudy, who drew attention to the transformers, and Albina said that she would wait for him in the cafe. Martha also said that she loves transformers, and Perry said that he would go get her a drink. Then the girl with pink hair asked if Batten and Olivia would go with her and received a positive answer. Judging by Rudy's reaction, he is not at all indifferent to transformers. He even has a limited-time watch with Megatron. The main character decided to talk to him about this topic and said that he wanted to add all the exhibits to his collection. And when the blonde asked about this, he replied that this media franchise is his favorite,